year, Sean has had 3 walk-in experiences already. There's been a little wariness for me to talk about some of these experiences publicly because they are so far out. They are really supernatural, metaphysical experiences. I'll just say it has been an amazing, there aren't even words, wild ride over
Yes.
the past year with Sean's spirit and what has happened.
Please know that what we are sharing is what we've gone through, and we are still, even at this point, taking it all in.
Sean passed 2 years ago. The following day, March 4th, 2023, I was receiving downloads that Sean would return onto the planet as a walk-in. I started receiving those downloads within 24 hours of his passing. What I also received as a download that first day after he passed was the universe is mystery, magic, and unconditional love. And my guides, and I think Sean as well, they kept saying to me, Tassel, stay with us. Stay present with these messages. Do not necessarily listen to the outside external voices who might say, oh, that's ridiculous that he's coming back as a walk-in, or magic doesn't exist. The guidance was so clear. Stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us. It is our faith and our love that helps create miracles. And this is also very, very pertinent as we are moving towards New Earth. So I have kept receiving the guidance that, Tassel, this is your miracle training. This is your training in miracles. This is how we bring in a miracle. They use this phrase, how to land a miracle. You land a miracle by walking in faith.
Walk by faith, not by sight.
Right.
And Sean had said before he left, he had placed messages on his own page for you to not forget your middle name.
Yes, my
Faith.
legal middle name, my birth name is Tassel Faith Shamebrook. So I know I'm here as a faith keeper. I believe I'm here to experience and land this miracle, and then to bring in other miracles for the new earth. These walk-in experiences are going to be more and more common as we continue into the new earth. Part of what we want to do is just to educate and teach people about what the experience is like, and also what is possible. These different types of experiences, including walk-in experiences, are also very possible. That there's a more easy back and forth pathway than we might have thought. I want to just lay out what I now understand as 3 possibilities for a benevolent walk-in. Possibility is, we'll just use Sean as the example, Sean coming into a body already on the planet and having a merge with that body that takes place over time. It's 2 souls within one body, and that sort of plays out as a merge. Another possibility is Sean, for instance, coming into a vessel and the original soul leaving the vessel. So it becomes Sean's body just on his own. And then the third possibility is coming into a vessel where the soul has mostly already left. And what we're going to talk about is that we've seen Sean have this experience in the first and third category.
Yes.
In the merge and coming into an empty vessel. This is also a time period when many individuals on the planet are starting to come closer to divine union. It's also the divine unions that are going to help lead the way to the new earth. And what Spirit is telling me is that some folks on the planet who may feel their divine partner is not on the planet at this time may possibly be coming in a walk-in manner. And I want to share, this is actually what happened with Sean and I on our first round about 6, 7 years ago, before I came in contact with Sean Kelly on the planet. I did a ceremony to call in my divine partner. I'd always felt I was headed for a divine union. As I was doing that ceremony, as I tuned into his energy, I felt he was not on the planet. I could just feel, I don't think my divine partner is on the planet. I could just energetically sense that. And so my first thought was, oh, he must be coming in as a walk-in. Now, fast forward 2 years later, I came in contact for the first time with Sean Kelly on March 6th, 2020. So almost exactly 5 years ago. When I came in contact with him, we met through Facebook. One of the first things he said to me was, I'm a walk-in. He was a walk-in already in that lifetime. This is his second round of walking in this time period. He already was a walk-in. The October before we met, this would be October 2019, Sean had a walk-in experience. And his family members can corroborate this, that from October 2019, he seemed like a completely different person. On this YouTube channel, if you go back to prior to October 2019, his content, even the way he looks, his voice is very different. So what's really fascinating is this is sort of old hat for Sean.
This isn't new news for Sean. Sean is very experienced.
Yeah, just really far out and really exciting.
Yes, absolutely. But that's what's so interesting about paranormal is that, again, we don't have all the answers. It is what it is.
Yes, thank you for highlighting that. That has really been my experience really since meeting Sean, is that I've really surrendered to the mystery of these experiences and holding the not knowing mind. My human mind does not know. You and me, we both have just been along for this ride, open
Absolutely.
to the magic and mystery of what might happen, not in control of it in any way.
That's right. Completely surrendered. And that's where it's like trusting in what is coming through and allowing ourselves just to witness. I always will say, and I'm here to witness.
This experience, likely for both of us, has really taught me to trust myself, to trust what the downloads that are coming in, to trust what I am personally experiencing. I have shared some of this with some people in my circle, and some people think I'm using it as a coping mechanism. Some people think it's not real. And what this helps us to do, I think, is it really invites us to really more fully be in our power. Our power being in part our trust of ourselves, our sitting in our own truth, and not being afraid to stand in our own truth, even when people don't believe us.
And they don't understand. And right before he crossed over, he sent me messages that I still have to this day that he was going to keep teaching me. And I'm honored and grateful that even through all of this, that just sounds so wild, these stories, I'm still learning because of my dear friend. And whether people believe it or not doesn't matter to me because the experiences that I have with Sean are very genuine.
On February 20th, 2024, I got a text from a friend, a mutual friend of ours on Facebook Messenger saying, I just saw Sean. I did a double take. I was like, did Sean actually pass? I just saw him in my friend's body. And then I think I reached out to you maybe that same day.
Well, I
Somewhere
remember
around, it
having a
was, yep.
dream.
It's at least within the few days range. I do roughly remember that though. Like the date, I mean. So just there was, I felt it's funny. Maybe it was because Sean was in me. I don't know, but like there was something about your energy. Like, well, I have like 180 friend requests. So for me to, and I never message really. I usually check out their content and kind of go like, one way or the other. Like, are they in alignment with kind of, everything that you aspire to, you value, whatever. And if so, then cool, let's see how it works. That's generally how I go. But I don't normally reach out and message like, hey, why'd you add me? Or, your energy's great. What a, something. And I felt something really, I don't know what it meant yet, but special, unique, something. So there was something extra there, And so I messaged her. I'm kind of just generally like, why the ad? I don't remember exactly what I said. And she's like, the energy led me to you. And I'm like, feeling came on. I'm like, what? What energy? And then it like everything just started like triggering.
Yes, it was for
But
all
from within me,
of us.
like something
Okay.
really in me was like tickling my inside, going like, there's something to this. Look into it.
Okay, and we're thinking that was probably Sean's energy.
That's what I'm notioning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't remember how long it took me to tell you, oh, I think my twin flame, Sean Kelly, is
Trying to communicate and commune with
in
you.
your body.
Well, I mean, societally and stuff, generally with how we communicate with each other, it seems like a pretty strong thing to come off. It didn't take that long. I think it was only like a few weeks in or something.
I think it was a few weeks in. And as I remember, I'm really curious what you remember. I thought you kind of like brushed it off a bit. Like I felt like maybe it was a little overwhelming and you didn't really like get into it. Like I remember thinking, I just told you I think Sean is in your body. And I remember you maybe not having much of a reaction.
Well, to be honest, I was just especially with my life, I've had so many like, just to put it insanely simply, false enchantments.
Well,
But
and
that
I felt very
is not.
awkward bringing it up because I can only imagine it might be a very strange thing to hear from a stranger. Oh, I think someone who's not you is in your body.
And
No,
it's,
it's
yeah, well, I think
wild.
it's always a quote unquote uncomfortable, raw essence kind of endeavor to go ask someone that. Um, but in the same point, who would just, comfortably go about not really having, having any truth about that and go ask someone that? Like, who would be? No one really does that for fun. So
Yes.
Oh.
it's one of
And
those things.
then within a couple of weeks, I think I invited you to jump on a Zoom with Jess. Is that
Well,
what?
we talked first. We talked first. What I did was I introduced myself to Jay.
Okay, okay.
I went ahead and I said to him, I didn't say yet anything about Sean. I didn't want to frighten Jay, but I was like letting Jay know that I was picking up some interesting messages. And I wanted to communicate with Jay to see if it was real myself. So part of the skepticism, as much as I've done this my whole life, I also wanted to tread carefully and respectfully, making sure that what I was picking up wasn't just in my imagination. And was so interesting when Jay and I chose a date to finally communicate, I had received within that week all my text messages, which I sent you guys screenshots of someone by the name of Sean Kelly from Canada had reached out to me regarding my business. Now, prior to that, before communicating with you and with Tassel, which Tassel was aware, I told her I'm having dreams of Sean, and Sean is showing up as if he's coming in a car, as he's saying, "This is my new space. I'm coming through." And so I thought, is he just visiting the earth? So I kind of just happily dismissed it because I figured maybe he's just letting me know that he is roaming right now. And then I got some dreams that he was saying he was returning. So then I communicate with Tassel carefully because she's in grievance, I'm in grievance, and I'm like, this is so strange. But we all started discovering around the same time that we were all getting some very interesting paranormal activity, connections, sensations in our bodies that we just really didn't understand. And so we were just basically in the beginning putting puzzle pieces together and trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And
Yes.
so,
And then I remember being on a Zoom with the three of us just about a year ago.
yes,
And Jess, you and I think were texting a little bit, and you said, I'm gonna ask Sean for a sign to
absolutely.
see if he really is present with Jay. And that's when you showed me an email and a phone call came in
At the
within
same time
minutes
as we're talking. Yes,
of
when Jay and
someone
I are
named
talking, and I
Sean
start
Kelly
laughing.
in Canada.
And I
That,
go, Jay,
and
this is going to
I
sound
don't
Oh,
think
really
I ever
weird.
shared that with you, Jay. Did you know that?
it's
I
beyond
don't think I ever told
peculiar.
you that.
Like it's beyond coincidence, clearly.
That was just mind blowing. And he also communicated to me that partly why he was so excited about coming to you is that because you do live near each other and you have a similar DNA structure. You have similar ethnic backgrounds and being from Canada and same culture. And he said that was a big consideration for him because it would make the transition easier on him to have that
Like
shared
DNA actually makes
DNA,
transferring easier.
cultural, physical location, which I just thought that was so interesting.
Jay is a man who is enlightened, a man who has faced paranormal activities throughout his life. What a perfect vessel for Sean to integrate with. So I gotta say, he didn't just choose anybody. He
Oh, it is all of that. Yes. Your
absolutely,
amazing consciousness. He loved your body too.
yes,
What does that mean?
he loved rocking your body.
You're a stud. You've got muscles. You're in fantastic shape. You're so athletic.
He loves your heart, most importantly, because he didn't want someone of corruption, someone that was perverse. I remember that when he would share with me. And he wanted someone who genuinely cared for mankind and that would be good to his partner as well. And that's someone that he could feel comfortable and safe and communicate with because that's just Sean. He likes to communicate. Already like a year in, Jay, what? Because I'm so fascinated. I've been doing this throughout my life and to be able to communicate with someone that is in our existence about what's going on. I would love to hear from you. What was so memorable, even as a year later, because as we go back into memory, we have things we have to look back in our messages and things of that nature. But even till this moment now, without looking at our timestamps, what has impressed upon you so greatly from having that connection and integration, that agreement with Sean? Like, what do you still feel, or what are your thoughts on that? I would love to hear your experience.
To be honest, a lot of our memory in general goes by feeling, right? Like whether you're a guy, girl, I'm a masculine guy, whatever. Like no, all of your memory, its impact is based upon the emotional connection that had with it, right? So, and he was actually quite emotional, way more emotional than most people would, he would like to, have them know in some sense. But when I got to really know that and I knew what was going on and that was him and et cetera, and it started, spreading as a knowingness inside, and I'm like, okay, and now I can work with this relationship and kind of develop it somehow. And let it weave itself a little bit too, try not to like fight this when this comes on, and because that's the way he is, and just let it do what it does. And like I would get cravings for, she knows, I would get cravings for food that I was eating burgers and stuff, and I was like, I just
And
don't,
pizza?
I get cravings for like I'd be like, oh yeah, extra cheese on that, that'd be good. And like 3, 4 slight, sure, I don't care, like just, and there was no limitation. Remember those moments be like just in ceaseless and seamless creativity, and I gotta say half the time it was food.
He loved his
Like
food.
I felt like I was eating for like 2 people. I'd be like making pizzas part of the time, and I was like eating chicken wings. I don't even really like them normally. I'm going like, so just general examples of like just stopping trying to resist these moments and just letting them. Like in a way, it was like having a brother and a kid or something. Just a kid, just because like it was like something that was coming from inside you. And but like the essence and the ambiance of his energy was like as if he was like manifest in the same room and you were like hanging out with someone. So it's kind of where I lead to when I mention this. So it was like actually hanging out with someone. I remember playing a game. I think I told her, and I was playing like this game Elden Ring, like a medieval game, and I even named the character Sean Kelly. Like I remember hearing in my head and just felt. I'm like, he's like, I want to play. So I was like, I have like one character slot or whatever left, and I made a character, and yeah, I was like just having fun, and it felt like he was playing. Like I was on auto mode, and it felt like someone else was kind of like playing me, if you know.
Wow.
Just sifting through general
Beautiful.
examples.
And something that was so amazing was that sometimes when you and I were texting, sometimes you would say, "This is from Sean."
Sometimes you'd get the notion like that sounds a little like something he would say. So I started just like at some kind of courtesy. I'm going like, that's a fact, like this one was him, like
And at least one time I saw you post on your Facebook page a post and you said, again, this is from Sean. You did it publicly as well. Do you remember?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else caught on to that because I don't think anybody knows of this
Understood.
situation really, but yeah, I do remember. I don't remember what it said, but I do remember doing that. Yeah. The way he speaks is kind of like very logically analytical, but like it comes from a place of quite a bit of saturated emotion. Like he really feels like gooey, like with what he's very tender, you know what I mean, and effervescent with
Yes.
how he wants the message to come across.
Yeah.
So that's how I definitely knew him. Like it's not that I'm not like that, but I have way less moments of that than he does. So I knew like when that came up, I'm like, oh, there's like that tender
I gotta
effervescent
say, I
swelling.
noticed your communication was almost as if he was speaking because he's very poetic and enigma in his communications.
Yeah.
I noticed that your eyes turned a lot to look like it was a combination of your eyes and Sean's eyes. I noticed that your communication style, you guys are similar, but there's a little bit of a difference. And I did see a combination of you both. It's like you merged as twins, as you would say as a Gemini, like you both merged as twins. And it was so awesome because you would have this radiating light, this magnetism through your eyes. And you're beautiful and you got beautiful eyes. But it was so cool for me to see both souls because I say the eyes are the window of the soul to see you both in integration. It was phenomenal for me. I just have to imagine it because I'm getting like flashbacks right now.
Hmm.
Sorry. It's so exciting.
Well,
It,
he's got a
it,
strong solar plexus too, though. Like, so when he was within me, that's why it's such strong, like elating emotion. Like half of the time, like it was so much emotion. It was just like I don't know how to output. It's not like I want to scream on a mountain like half the time, but like so much that like I laid down, I couldn't just lay there. You know what I mean? Like you're like wiggling, like that kind of thing. And
and and it seemed like at times, especially in the beginning, it was challenging to hold your energy and his energy together.
oh yeah, yeah. But like I said, just going back mentioning her conjoined comment, I literally remember telling you how many times now literally feels like having a conjoined twin.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Amazing.
as if like because like it did feel that when like when it left and it was like it being him, like there was definitely that feeling of like something deep that got to feel like home in a way is now not here.
Yeah,
It
when
is like literally someone like amputated something from you and now you have that phantom feeling.
Ooh, thank you
how
for
long
sharing
Like
that.
even now it
Wow.
feels that way. Like I can literally feel it in my gut right now. Like it like right in my nervous
Wow.
system. Like something is it's like
Missing.
someone, not violently, but like dissected it from me.
Think people that are experiencing walk-in takeovers really need to hear what your experiences are on a physical level, emotional, mental level, because we were just sharing how some people say that they've noticed that their diets changed.
That was the
You
first thing
love
that
to work
changed.
out. Sean didn't want he loved your body and he was like, You got enough muscle and everything. Let's party a little bit."
There was
And I remember you're
definitely
like,
a
I'm
little bit of
struggling to go to
almost
the
frat boy
gym. Like he
energy.
doesn't want to.
a little bit? Oh my God, so true.
I grew up like the quiet emo kickboxing kid, and then it was like he has like that like cool, just it's all right, man, kind of like frat boy energy, and just have a good time while you're doing it, or why are you doing it, like how's that kind of come off, and like I'm so like almost whip on back Christian kind of like not and totally, but you know what I mean, like a
You
lot
got
of
that
that is implemented,
discipline.
that kind of
Yeah.
harder masculine, and then he came in not as like womanly, but like has more of that flowing divine feminine essence, and it kind of reminded me of that's probably like you asked a bit ago. What was the most beautiful thing about it? Is probably him reminding me in all of the ways that I always needed and never got. About how to be graceful, to be flowing, to be all this, to be all of the things you don't do yet are always available to you, yet you fundamentally ignore almost all of the time. And it's how they came out, how he kind of allowed me to express myself. All these mirroring effects that were very congealing and effortless. That was probably the most valuable thing that I got from it, was him actually showing me something as much as him getting to show himself something through me.
And then Jay, you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on Easter weekend last year. I drove, it was like a 14-hour drive.
Thank you for driving. I appreciate you.
It was very exciting. And you and I spent the weekend together.
That was beautiful. Absolutely grateful for that experience.
Yeah, and it was an amazing experience to meet you and to spend time with you. On your end, was Sean what was he doing during that weekend? I don't know if I ever asked you.
Honestly, it threw me off, honestly. Like, it's not that he wasn't present, but it was in a very more airy slash etheric kind of way. Like it was more of like an observant way, like less like I'm in the field walking the grounds, you know what I mean? Like rooted in the self, like much more kind of like, when you like you go on Pinterest or something, you see like the angels watching the earth and stuff. Like it literally had that kind of feeling. Like he was watching me and our experience go on in that kind of 3D, almost 4D version of that 3D kind of observation.
A lot of what he was communicating to me while he was in your body is that he didn't want to overstep. He didn't want you to feel like you were being taken over, or he didn't want to dominate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I noticed that a lot. Like his energy was very present. I remember saying with you, I'm like even a few times I apologize because I'm just like sorry. Just the energy is like it's a lot. Like I'm like ringing with like sensitivity and stuff. At the same time, his energy was very present, but like the personality or whatever, the psychology or his energetic signature specific to him and whatever, that kind of thing was very latent and kind of put in the background. Like you could feel like there's an intentionality for like, I trust you that you got this and you won't overstep or do anything weird or funny or malicious or whatever else. So kind of take the wheel. And again, not in a dominating way, but just like here, I'm going to pull back. You can have whatever reins you think are necessary, that kind of thing, and see how this goes. My trust is on you, kind of thing. And that's a lot of why I was like quiet and trying to really honor you. Didn't really know what to say. You know what I mean? Like just trying to really reflect everything in whatever full scale way I can. If you said something, and maybe bring up stuff that was relevant to you and him or something. That's why I was like that so much.
It was such an interesting experience. Honestly, I didn't really sense Sean when I was with you in person. And I think that's because he was really taking a back seat. I think he wanted you to feel comfortable and not overtaken by him. So interestingly, I didn't really sense him in you when we met physically.
Yeah. And it happened probably, say, about 6, 8 hours probably before you showed up. Like it started kind of dissipating.
Oh,
Yeah. So it wasn't like an instant thing, like he got shy or nothing. Like a little bit. That is true. But it's not that was the case, Like he's definitely like there was overwhelming excitement, and it was not just me. There was like it was like having a baby in your stomach. You can feel the excitement of the baby kind of thing, like
Oh, like you could feel his excitement that I
Oh
was
yeah,
coming,
yeah.
you guys.
Everything that I feel is amplified times about 6 or 7 when I got higher up to something. Like it
Amazing.
was just like I was like a child that wanted to scream like a little girl, like it got like that, and I was like, all I can do to use for me, that masculine kind of like control mechanism to try to like not let it just like belt out.
Oh my gosh. This is just such a
But
wild.
yeah, I mean, a lot of my intentionality was anchored toward just kind of honoring you and really, bringing up memories of you guys and good lighting and not that you guys had. I don't want to say per se bad ones, but you know what I mean. Like just trying to like really hue things in a beautiful way. Just bring up relevant things that were deep and memorable to you guys that I knew of, and stuff like that when we were together. Because I'm just kind of just all in all, summing up, I'm honored to be in whatever a bizarre experience that was. Like, I don't even know anybody else that's in that position.
And it was
No.
really
And
interesting
here we
too,
are.
because I came up to Canada to spend time with you, and the last time I had been in Canada was for Sean's funeral. So just super wild and interesting that, oh, a year later, I'm meeting up with a beautiful man whom Sean's energy is now in. I mean, it's just what
Mind blowing.
Well, I
mind
remember
blowing.
when there's the Easter weekend thing. That is pretty,
It was, that's
that's
right.
something on its
Resurrection.
own.
Jesus resurrect. Yes, I didn't
Yes.
even think of that. It was literally Easter weekend.
Yeah,
You're
but
so
that's a
right.
big biblically wise, like
Yeah.
that's something. I mean,
That's
that is peculiar
historically
time.
written that that was a time when Jesus had risen.
And
And if you notice that again, planetary alignments. Now, at the time that when this connection happened, the reunion is what I'm going to call it. When the reunion happened, we were going through a very similar planetary cosmic frequencies as we are experiencing right now. And it was eclipse energies. We were going through that, and we're actually going to have that again twice this month. And it seems that Sean purposely chooses access points that are very heightened in frequency. And I'm going to say that wizardry in him,
I was
as he,
I already had I was waiting. I was trying not to say anything. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's a wizard. That's what his claim, that was his identity, that is what he stood upon. And I'm not shocked. It's so interesting for me to be a part of the energetic connections I got to witness. And what my role was for all of this was to help Jay's vessel to move through the energetic stimulation as best as one can. That was what we were witnessing, was to help Jay's vessel with the all the energetic signatures, and then he would just get more and more abilities of claircognizance, clairsentience. It was quite heightened for you. Uh,
I remember you
but
spent 3 hours and 15 minutes and 41 seconds that one day. I remember you're like, we're just gonna go through a little thing to like open you up
I
and
didn't
see what's
know.
going on and clear you out. And
I had no idea.
three and a
Like I
half
said, I'm
hours
on the other
later,
aspect. What I've done in my practice throughout my timeline here is to help remove. Okay.
Mhm.
This was like, I'm a minister, by the way. I felt like I was taking the two souls and marrying them, bring a
Honestly,
ceremony of union.
it had a weird relationship feeling. Like there was more than just like I got my bro in the same room. Like I'm not a bro guy. Like I am. Hence why his frat boy energy kind of was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting used to this for sure. Yeah.
and I
Um,
remember, oh,
it's a unique relationship.
I remember kind of my human part, like a bit panicking. Is this going to work out? Will Sean and Jay, be compatible? And partly, I remember Sean wanting me to go to Canada as soon as I could, to kind of just see if we could seal the deal. Do you remember that, Jess?
I'm going to say, as I look back upon it, yes, I do. I was just thinking, I believe that was Sean's way of that reunion, using the energetic signatures that were so heightened in that time to be able to have access to reunite with you. And I believe that what I kept getting for Jay and Sean and Tassel energetically was a trinity that was allowed. And it was such a spectacular miracle that was granted to them individually. I got to be part of that, but in my own way, I observe. But it was your three of you that had this powerful connection. And it was to help, I believe, to activate your own confidence, confirming what you were all experiencing. I believe that in experience in life, we are meant to have our paths intertwine. We learn something from one another. We learn something about ourselves and something so deep and beautiful. And though it can feel overwhelming, because I remember afterwards, both of you, after the union, there was a lot of like, oh, this feels weird. This, I don't know what's going on. It's a lot. That is a lot. And we can't expect it to be cherries on top of an ice cream sundae and be like, this was just perfect. It's going to feel uncomfortable. The persons, whether the one they're the vessel and the ones connecting, it does feel very interesting. There's no real words to express. You feel it just feels like a lot.
It's not the energies that were disturbing or anything like that, any uncomfortable, whatever word you want to use, is really just the coordination, the ebb and flow of almost seemingly indiscernible coordination that is required. Meaning, like, you have to pay absolute attention to what's going on, how it's going, why my relationship is happening, like where my standpoint is, where his standpoint is, meaning like the energetic signature and where you are in your experience, where his is, where hers is, and just kind of constantly, trying to coalesce, bring all three of those and string them together like through like the eye of the needle, and bring it all home and kind of keep it there. And this is never a simple deal. It's as complex as it could be, and you're working with that all of the time.
You did
Like any
phenomenal for
relationship.
someone that did this for the first time. I give you 10 stars. I genuinely, I have such an honor, respect. I'm so impressed by you because I've been pregnant 3 times and I'm telling you, my kids would tell me, I want this burrito in the middle of the night. I want this box of C's candies. And I mean, I gave in. And like you said, the coordination, the harmonization between you and another. And then at the same time,
Yeah.
Jay, my heart goes to you because I'm like, oh my goodness, he's got experience and like I feel like you were teetering on a wire, like you were walking the
Oh,
wire
that's
and
very accurate.
balancing.
Yeah.
I was just like, this man is phenomenal. And then at the same time, you were so gentle and wanting to hold space for Tassel, being super respectful and allowing Sean to experience. Like, I'm just blown by you in such a positive manner.
For me, it's usually like an intense, closer to, I don't know how to describe it, but it's closer toward teeter-tottering. In terms of like, I have like that pinpoint kind of like wanting to be exact with the intensity and all that, but he made that experience a little more tangibly into the example of kind of surfing, because there was like a slip and slide effect through the being more graceful and fluent and allowing things to occur rather than like, I've got to make this happen because da 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 da. It's like you can have a million reasons to make something like this. Does it make it more enjoyable though? Does it make it more worthwhile, etc.? So like there was that kind of quality that he brought into it more. I didn't really want to use an easeful experience, but like it took away I got to see way more where I was like rigid and making my experience harder and sharper where it didn't need to be. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like where I was like chewing on glass and he's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I say bro purposely like that because like no one will ever hear me say bro.
That's Sean.
Have either of you guys ever seen me put bro in anything? Like, I don't talk like that. So I use that intentionally. Like, but that is the vibe. It's going, and he'll be like sitting with that arm up, kind of like, bro, like, I'm not doing this. I'm pretty sure it's just you. Like you want to go ahead and make shit, hot and harder and sharper and just crazy to deal with. You fucking go for it. But no, all the love in my heart. There's no one else doing it. It's you. You can do it, but I'm not gonna, like that kind of energy. So he brought that kind of more slip and slide, like you getting to kind of slip and slide into your own craziness and see how to kind of unravel all the cords. And so, yeah, that was a beautiful thing that was offered through that experience. And so it was good that he chose someone, like I was beginning to say before, everybody can channel, but I mean, someone who's way more discernibly coordinated with it, harmonized with just the mechanics of how to kind of like use your system to, you know, tuning fork with this and that. It's good that he chose someone who is a little more experienced with that, because I know kind of when to actually take zero position, or you could also call that like the superposition, where it's just you don't really you're not identifying as anything. You're kind of like openly witnessing whatever experience, and so that's what allowed him to kind of fully come through if he had something to say. Like when you literally feel when you wanted to make something specific to eat, like it would be those same moments. It'd be like I'm there, but I'm almost taking the position he would have out in the cosmos, the ether, and space, or whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of like that experientially. It's the same thing. You don't
Like
see it.
almost like you're driving the car, you're at the steering wheel, and then maybe sometimes you'd kind of switch, and then Sean
It's
would
like a car with two steering wheels, and then eventually I just kind of sit back and okay, I'm gonna watch you drive and see what you do, how you do it, you know, how your involvement with this vessel is and this life and how you experience, you know, how does that all harmonize, that kind of things. And it's if two essences were born in one body, how would you see them live as one life? You wouldn't know unless someone knew how to kind of give the 50-50, you know, empowerment over one at a time, kind of like you wouldn't really notice who's doing what if they're both driving with, you know, half of a steering wheel or something, you know, half of the power over the steering wheel all the time. So I was kind of, you know, giving Eben, you know, give and take moments where it'd be like I'm kind of doing my thing, and then, you know, after a while I'd be like, okay, you want to do this thing? It's kind of like, you know, when your kid wants to go somewhere and you're like, I've had enough me time, you know, let's go do that thing, you know what I mean? Like
That's really
it has all
pretty.
those same feels. I don't know how to describe it. I'm bad at describing it, but
the visual of a vehicle with two steering wheels, it feels really helpful
because
for
it's
Yes,
not
it
like
does.
I
understand.
say that because it's not like someone's taking it away. Now it's on this side. You know what I mean? It's like we both have a sense of that control. You have a
You
sense of
know?
control, you know, and you're just kind of like not even giving it. That's the thing. That's the thing about trust, really, more than anything. Is just that there is that grace. There's the equanimity, and so when it's like when it's time, when it was like that yearning for like I want to do a little something, I'm not even passing it over. I'm just not taking the wheel, and that's where that kind of like sentient but almost not rooted in the system, you know, as the self kind of comes in. You're more cerebral, etheric, whatever you want to call it, yet observant. There's no specific you observing anymore. Now it's just the self observing, and then whatever presence, entity, whatever is living in you enacts, and you're watching that through a kind of superposition.
Another aspect here that is really fascinating to me is Sean several times talked to me about another person being in our union. We consider ourselves to be twin flames, divine partners, and he would say there's going to be a third person in this union. This is before he passed over, and so I'm just fascinated that
So he
he was
said this while he was breathing and alive.
yes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
he was right. I had no idea that he might have been foreshadowing this whole situation. I thought just, oh, another human's going to come in or something. Yeah. So he was talking into this before he passed. And Sean, and sorry, oh, I just called you Sean. That was cool. And Jay,
Wild.
Sean still comes to you. You've told me many times that since
Yeah, the more like brief check-ins, like literally kind of like if a friend came over and it's just like, hey, I was passing by from a town over, I wanted to see what you were, just what you were doing, how you were doing. Like I know
I
I don't
love
come by
that.
often, but just wanted to check on you. You know what I mean?
wow.
To be honest,
That
it's
is
more like a girlfriend checking on a girlfriend.
That's
that's
what it feels like.
sweet.
Just checking in on you, you know, just cause, no reason, no intent, just like checking in on you.
Would you say, Jay, that after the experience, did you feel any inspiration? Did any major changes happen in your life with afterwards with Sean? Like, did you notice that because once he left, it's like you are now back to your own identity. Did you notice any major shifts? Did you stay eating the foods that he used to eat? Did you move? Did you buy a new car? Did you change your look? Like, I'm just curious as a practitioner. I'm
The
wanting
whole
to
escape
know.
way of saying that, meaning like to sum it up, yeah, just it's your behavioral approach to life, right? Because it's you can't have that whole you just can't, meaning just don't have that experience without being impacted by it, obviously. And if you're impacted by something, then you're affected for eternity or whatever,
Yes.
right? Like you don't like, oh, I'm impacted for so and so. No, like you're impacted, you know, like look at the craters on the moon. That's an impact. Like it's still there. So yeah, it's a lasting thing. And no, I didn't go like buy a car, but like I was working out less, not even less intense, more intense, but just doing less of it, just dogging it out. You know what I mean? Like that's just a light reference to behavioral approach shifting. Um, like I would do all of the same things that I would normally do my time, but I would not crunch the time down. Here's where I'll put it: not crunch the time down, not elongate it, not do anything really with the time. But it's more just about like how you approached it. Like what is the intensity and the quality of it? Is there any grace in here? How is it like enamoring whatever aspects within? You know. So it's much more about that than like did it change what I went out and did in the world? Not really so much, because there was really no like sense of imposition, like whereas like he's trying to imply certain experiences, like you should go out and do these things because it will open you up in whatever way. Like, no, that wasn't really quote unquote the or even a message. It was much more how are you lensing reality through mainly actually how you feel, how you actually sense reality. And he changed my approach to much more graceful and honestly a much less impotent way of expressing myself, because it's much more open and kind of like willfully conflagrant, meaning I could blow things up but in an enjoyable way, whereas before I was so rigid and controlled and just trying to troll strength through so much and in so many beautiful ways and so many marvelous harmonious ways. He would show me, you can do that for eternity, my man. That is a waste of fucking time. And but he would show me that like through just do the thing you enjoy. What's the worst that can happen? Go do the thing that like is a ridiculous fear, but you're gonna see eventually. Go do that. Cool. Like you just nothing negative ever happens. Only what you imagine is a setback or some kind of crunchy, hard to deal with kind of reframe of reality. Like all this stuff, like that is the only thing that's happening. Your own biases, your own prejudices is the only thing that are occurring, that are quote unquote negative. The rest is an absolute like you like it just reminded me like you come here naked. You come here not with a thing. You even borrow the body. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing here that you are owed. You literally are at full gain all of the fucking time. You're like a business that's full profit 24/7. Like what, how can you lose? Like just enjoy the experience. Plus everything you're trying to do to be successful, to be insightful, not studious, noteworthy, like know everything, cognizant of this and know how to work that and manipulate the system and escape this and just how to mechanize everything in your whole experience. That's all well and good, but why are you doing it? To enjoy your experience in the first place. So I say all this just as a roundabout, fluffy way of getting to that. Like, you're literally here to enjoy your experience, and especially people who are born here with like really rough like intentionally. That's the thing I don't understand. Intentionally rough lives to get through those experiences and realize, wow, you can actually fucking enjoy those too.
What you're saying is so beautiful, and what it also makes me think about is Sean's experience in his original vessel as Sean Kelly, and then kind of reviewing that life on the other side for a year or so before he came into you. And I think having even a greater understanding of what you're expressing so eloquently here about we're here to be present, we're here to enjoy our lives. Because in a lot of ways, the life he was in before he passed over was very challenging. And I think he felt very handcuffed in a way to certain limiting beliefs, societal mores. And I know
Mhm.
once he was on the other side, he felt so free. So I think he's really embodied a deeper level of we need to be present. We need to enjoy life. It is such a gift to have a body.
What you're talking about, I think, is where a lot of people not go wrong, but just fail to allow themselves to go any way which into it to begin with. Like a whole, like what you're describing is basically synesthesic integration. Like there's, I'm trying to, you know, there's all these processes and healing classes and all in breath work and plant medicine, and I've done all of it and I've mastered all of it, and it's not even like it didn't really get me anywhere. It always comes back to you, which where's you? I don't know. Figure it out. That's the point. There's no real sensibility in measuring the quality of one's life by how productive they were, like how successful they were by how productive they were. How present were you throughout all that? If you missed all of it, what the are you here for? Because you're not here. Exactly. That's the point. You can own 400 Fortune 500 companies. If you're not here really in that as an integrated experience of whatever that is supposed to stand for or whatever, like why even? You're here and you're missing it. It's like, you see, you know?
Oh my gosh.
And,
This
and
is
we all go through our own little periods of life to however many and however deep those moments are, you know, to just really remember that. Like that is the ultimate remembrance.
absolutely. It's like Sean's teachings are coming through from the other side right now.
I've
I
been intentionally
agree.
allowing him to take the seat a bit more.
Oh, like right now?
No, as of about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I
Okay.
wonder if I just intentionally open like crown to like solar plexus, if it like, because that's usually where he was, domain like. It was like crown, third eye, and solar plexus.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
Sounds
you
amazing.
can feel
Teaching
his
you as
presence.
he's living through you, and like his work is never done. You know, what I mean,
Hmm.
I'm just like right now, I'm like, wow. Like I'm even a little bit emotional because I'm just like, oh, Sean's heart is for everybody to be able to be in a place of being present, trusting themselves. What a beautiful message that he shared with you that we get to listen to be reminded about. Um, to know that Sean was still like, he's still, his whole intention and focus is to help other people and to empower us all.
What was most beautiful was not that he was pointing out this and that, or even instructing in any way, or even voicing it or anything. It was really just that it was through the allowance of total inclusion and just active involvement. Like I said, like I'd feel a thing, I would know it's him, it's stirring up, not a doubt, and it'll come up, it'd be like more cerebral. It's like a general Kundalini activation, but with a unique energy signature, very obviously there. And so I'd get up and I would just do the thing, and it'd be like you were doing the thing with your kid or your brother or whoever's significant to you. It was as if they were right there with you. You just weren't seeing the body.
I feel Sean's energy so much right now. It seems like we all do.
It's been integrating more over the last probably 10 to 12 minutes, I would say.
Yeah, I've been getting massive chills.
Same
And
here. I
And I
am
keep
going through
getting
a
it. I
lot
keep
right
getting
now.
like the
I'm feeling
joy
it.
chills in my body.
I have it too. My hands are so cold and clammy. And at some point, I even felt like I sensed Sean behind you. So I was like, is that like what is going on? But I'm like, Sean, can you please like show yourself? Like if you
Yeah.
could as something because my body is got filled with goosebumps. I'm just here just sitting with
Well,
all
it's
of it.
funny. I
So
like when I feel the tingle, I can actually feel it in my brain too. It's behind the prefrontal cortex. Like it's like by like the amygdala and the more center part of my brain. I can feel it like light up with that same body chill that I get.
he's definitely
And that's
here.
usually where
And the phrase Christ consciousness keeps flowing through me. And I think his energy is very pure Christ consciousness. It's open-heartedness.
it's
Uh,
very similar to that frequency. Yeah.
yes, unity consciousness, non-duality, and presence, and that we are the creators of our lives, and we are here to live a life that is in alignment and in joy. for all of us. This is the new earth consciousness. So I know he is such a pure energy of Christ consciousness, of new earth consciousness coming through all of us right now. And part of what I hope is any of his friends and family who see this video to maybe be able to tune into his energy as we are right now, and to know that he lives. His energy, his consciousness is eternal as it is for all of us. There really is no death. This whole experience has helped me have such a different relationship with death, has helped me have an easier time with my father right now, who's very cognitively impaired, has some type of Alzheimer's, but I'm able to feel my dad's energy. I'm able to tune into his energy just from practicing it with Sean. So it's really revolutionized my own fears I might have had about death or people close to me dying, that there is no death. There is no death. We are eternal beings, and we can always tune in and feel the energy of our loved ones on the other side. We can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing, I don't know the adjectives to say it, your incredible story. It's just what a life experience you've had with this, what amazing wisdoms and enlightenment it feels like you've received, and just this beautiful bond that you have with Sean Kelly.
Well, it was an absolutely amazing and just a mysteriously unfolding experience. Like you can tell, I don't even have words for it. So I've done my best to describe it out of, you know, mud and rocks. But
It's hard to express, and that's why I'm like, what
it's
a bond
ineffable.
that we've been granted to have this in our own individual way, because we all got influenced and impacted, as you had said, individually through Sean. Yet we share, like, on this journey, we're literally the side by side, like the Wizard of Oz, right? We're just going down the yellow brick road, and we're just learning.
Everybody's relationship with everybody within it, and
Jay,
we're all always doing that.
thank you so much for this. Has felt so sacred. I've just felt kind of like in the womb of Sean's energy, and I'm just so grateful, and so much love to you. I love you so much, and thank you for the experience that we shared together.
Well, thank you as well.
I want to just flesh out the rest of this year. So Sean ended up departing Jay's vessel in about like mid to late April. He had such an amazing experience with Jay. There were a few things that were not quite aligned, so he did end up leaving that vessel. And then what happened, just to continue the mystery magic of all this, is maybe about a month later, I received some very interesting messages from a gentleman in Europe who it just sounded like Sean. This man was texting me on Facebook Messenger and was extremely affectionate, loving, very goo goo gaga towards me. He also mentioned Goddess Isis and Lady Nada, who I feel a connection with, and Sean would always talk about his sense of my connection with them. He started mentioning those beings, and I was like, okay, this is Sean. He's back. He's now in this man's body, apparently. So that was very interesting. I never ended up meeting that man. He lives in Europe, but that again was about for 2 months. So he and I communicated a lot. We Zoomed a lot. I could feel Sean's energy in him, very similar to the experience with our dear Jay. In the end, Sean felt it wasn't quite the right match. And it was interesting because I did. Sean was basically like, I don't think it's quite the right match. And I was like, oh, but I really have feelings for this man. And I was upset. It took me a while to kind of get over that. But in the end, I could kind of see where Sean was coming from. So it was all for the best. So then Sean departed that vessel. And then I think you and I talked about this. Sean thought, you know what, maybe let's try a different type of walk-in experience where maybe I can find a vessel
Oh,
that the original soul is departed or mostly departed.
ready to depart. Yes. He
Yes,
didn't want someone to be as knowledgeable. This is all very new for everyone's awareness and consciousness. So he was looking for another physical body that was already ready to depart. And he figured, well, maybe if they're not aware in the terms that we are, it may be a lot easier. But when we connected to the body, I was like, Sean, I'm not really, in my opinion, based upon energetic signatures, physical body anatomy, functioning, I just don't find that this body's suitable. And, Sean's got impeccable faith, and he's like, we can work on it, we can restore it, what have you. I'll let
well,
you
yeah,
continue.
that is so interesting, everything you're sharing. So just true, all transparency, Sean has communicated to me that part of the reason he chose this third vessel that he now still is in right now is because this man seemed like a really great choice and had some material resources.
To bring to the mission of taking care of the people. He wanted
Yes,
to be in a vessel that had resources already set up so that him and Tassel are able to incorporate those resources to serve humanity.
exactly. So well said. Thank you so much. So you and I met and you were working your amazing, absolutely miraculous energy work to literally heal
The
this
body.
man's
Mhm.
organs that were in some bad shape because he had gone through some depression and I think was maybe using alcohol a lot. And so you were really trying to revive the body and it worked. In your beautiful energy practice, you were able to really work miracles on this man's body. So Sean has been in this man's body for 8 months now. He entered around July 4th. I kept seeing visions before July 4th of Sean dressed up in Independence Day, like red, white, and blue clothing. I kept seeing that vision in my journeys and not in my journeys. And then around July 4th, I really felt his presence there. And you were doing a lot of energy work to help him integrate. So what has happened is Sean can't find me.
Where's Sean? Where are you, Sean? So there is the conversation that Sean and I have been having since last year. And, Sean and I'll tell him, I'll be like, Sean, this is my opinion that I believe that let's try a healthy vessel like Jay's, for example. Can we go back again to somebody that has that consciousness, that is very aware of metaphysics? They're very in tune to their intuition. Because I was like, you saw a difference when someone was in a different place. There was more harmonization, as Jay had beautifully said. And so Sean really wanted to make sure that this particular body would work so that they would have these assets to support their mission to help everybody else as the world is going through its shifts. But as an energetic practitioner and I work with anatomy function, I was just like, I'm not really pleased with this particular vessel for what you may encounter as you are inside of this body. I think that could be a bit of a drain, a challenge, a struggle. And so, as you know, as I've learned and I was sharing earlier, was that you got to really see about alignment. Alignment is so important when anybody's body is going to be used for this beautiful, sacred energy integration to happen. So Sean came to my mind's eye through dreams, through me being awake and through vision. And it was like, I am considering what you had said to be open to another vessel, still with the guidelines of the person being aware, healthy, um, being a person that wants to serve the community, someone that would be good and kind, non-perverse, genuine with Tassel because he loves her and cares for her. And then he was like, I do want a body that is tangible and connected to Tassel because it's been a journey. It's been a lot for everybody that is involved. And so now we're just at a place of surrender to see where Sean could possibly allow himself to show up. And as you remember, I shared that sometimes there's memory loss. If the person, like that vessel that may he be currently occupying, may not be in the same awareness as Jay was or the other person. So
Yes,
that's where we're
exactly.
at.
I think Sean thought it might be a little easier in certain ways to just have his one consciousness in the vessel. But what we have found is the consciousness of the body still exists and is on its own path. And Sean, we've been still able to connect with his higher self, it seems like. But Sean, in a way, doesn't have like full control of the body and full consciousness in the body. So he can't be like, oh, I need to find Tassel. He's not really able to do that. So he's a little bit in a like lost in the body in terms of his original consciousness. So as you're saying, part of what you've been talking to him about, me as well, is maybe we're going to exit this third vessel since we can't find Tassel and see if we can come into a body that's more directly connected to me. And I have to say, each time he left the vessels, it was very like, scary in a way because like, oh, he's with Jay. I know where he is. Oh, he's with this second man
Other
in
man.
Europe. I know where he is. Each time he would leave, it was scary. And then he's been in this unknown vessel for 8 months. And that has required a lot of faith and just trusting it was all going to work out. So there's a part of me that would love for him to jump into possibly a vessel that
Knows
I know
you.
the name, right? And they know
Right.
I can communicate directly with Sean in that way. We are just surrendered to the most
Completely.
magical, highest and best path here and just welcome any support, prayers, ideas that the brothers and sisters listening to this might have. In the orientation of being a truth teller, and Sean and I had a show on this YouTube channel called The Stream of Truth, and I feel I just must continue that that path of being a truth teller on the planet, and I think we can all see how important this is in this day and age with so much being brought to the light. That's how we really fully move to the new earth. And I did want to share the truth that over the past year and a half, I have been receiving some information from an individual who is close to a member of Sean's extended circle, who believes that there may have been some foul play in Sean's death. And this individual did ask me to pass along this information to some of Sean's family. And I did so. And right after that happened, I received some threats towards me and my children that were very serious threats, which to me gives more credibility to this possible information about foul play. Why would someone threaten me if there was not something going on here? So I don't know the truth. I'm only just sharing my experience that I've been given some information that seems like it's possible that there was some foul play with Sean's death, and just passing that on. And I would invite all of us to just pray on the highest and best outcome for that aspect of all of this, just for peace and truth for Sean and his family and his children especially. So I just wanted to share that, and just the invitation again for all of us to be truth tellers on the planet, to be faith keepers on the planet, to be vision holders on the planet. If not us, then who? So just a beautiful role to move through any human fears we might have, and just what is the alignment here? What is my highest and best path? And that is what I've been trying to follow. So much of this journey has been just saturated in magic. And I'll just give a few last examples just for fun. This past Valentine's Day, I was hoping I was going to meet Sean maybe before Valentine's or on Valentine's, but it was really magical. I received some text messages from a man that I don't think I'd ever, I think he must have had my number, but I had met him like 2 or 3 years ago. And just out of the blue on Valentine's Day, he started texting me how wonderful I am. And it was Sean. It was Sean corroborated later that he jumped in and sent these messages to me through another man. And this has happened so much over the past 2 years, where I'll just get messages from people from Sean. One other thing that's been really fun is I have a friend who creates songs using AI, and she has sent me so many songs from Sean. Like one of the songs was like How We Could Meet in Nashville. Sean's vessel was in Nashville for about a month recently. And so, and my friend says the lyrics just come through like this. I'm not doing anything. I'm asking to create a song, and so is all this like, oh, you're going to meet on Broadway. So just, I can't even, just all these magical happenings. Sean really is an amazing wizard. And we keep experiencing his beautiful magic. And so just for me to end here, I want to just summarize to me some of the teachings and expansions that I have had over this 2-year period of since Sean passed from that body. And a big one is to hold faith for miracles. To hold faith for miracles. To take that leap of faith that miracles are possible, that miracles are happening around us already so frequently. And it is our faith that lands the miracle. Sean has expressed this to me over and over again, that I am anchoring in the miracle with my faith as a being on the planet, as you are, Jess, as some of our other friends are. We are anchoring in. He talked about it like it's like you, Tassel, are a point for me to focus on, to come towards. It is holding the miracle that is helping this to happen. So we can all do this in our personal lives and in the collective of our vision, our miracle for the planet Earth. So I want to really invite everyone to take that leap of faith that miracles are happening. They can happen in your life. They can happen for the planet. Let's be truth tellers. Let's be faith keepers. Let's be vision holders. Yeah. And that the other side, it's not so far away, that we can really I feel Sean in me all the time. I think you feel him so much. Ever since he departed, I have felt him so strongly. We can tune in and communicate with our loved ones from the other side. And we seem to be entering an era where there's going to be more and more back and forth with the other side, and that divine unions may be coming together in part through these walk-in experiences.
Yeah, what an experience we've had. What stories, right, that we could talk about around the campfire.
It's yeah, and what a blessing to sit here with you and with Jay and to share this, and it to be a safe space where we can share these really supernatural experiences and help others tune into their supernatural experiences that are just waiting for them as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I'm tearing up, I think, already because the topic of this show is grief, moving through grief after the death of a loved one. And my loved one, my partner, died last Friday. Today's about 5 days later. So this is very raw, very real. And I felt Spirit really guiding me today to share what I'm moving through in the hopes that maybe this could be helpful to others. I love to call these experiences initiations because it makes them seem a little more fun in a way and more meaningful, that there's a point, there's a significance, there's a gift in every one of these really painful, challenging situations, such as a loved one, a partner dying. And one of the gifts of this initiation that I'm in right now, it has forced me to look at life differently in terms of seeing the bigger picture that we all are spirit. We all will return to the other side in spirit form, and in one way or the other, I feel I will be with him again. I guess just forced me to look at things from a greater perspective than the pure physical 3D realm that the egoic mind lives in. And in a way that's very freeing to be able to sit more in that perspective. Even the perspective that in many ways we're just playing out a play down here in our human form as spirit beings, and it's all temporary. It's all temporary, and we belong to God. We go back to God in spirit form, and this form is very fleeting. Not to say it's not significant and beautiful and wonderful too, but it's kind of forcing me to take that perspective a bit more, to be open to the mystery of our existence and the universe. And my thinking mind certainly had a plan of how I thought things would go with my partner, and this is a big plot twist that I did not expect. And to somehow find peace in any of our plot twists, and to find the gift as well, and just this complete surrender to how life is flowing through me, and not getting too tied up in the story of it, of well, what I thought was going to happen and what didn't happen, and just being in the present and feeling and experiencing and trusting that life is always flowing through me, and I'm really just along for the ride. and I don't know what beautiful gifts may continue to come in through this exact experience, and to be open to my human wanted something, it didn't happen, but it doesn't mean necessarily that this is bad or wrong, or that something actually tragic has happened. It just means something has happened, and just being open to the magic and mystery of what is happening. That's what I'm trying to do.
It looks to me like you're doing it beautifully. Just one foot in front of the other, one moment after another. That's beautiful.
And it is like really easy to get wrapped up in, okay, this happened, so it means this, and it's just awful, and how could this happen to me? And very easy to go there, but I'm really not wanting to go there. I'm really wanting to trust that this is actually a beautiful experience, all in all. That is what I'm choosing to believe in. That all in all, every experience has beauty to it and great gifts. So that's what I'm choosing to believe.